staying. I know this is the last event before the reception, so thanks a lot. We spoke, both Amazon and Facebook are consumer brands, although Margaret works in the enterprise side of Facebook. We're going to switch now to enterprise. How many of you work in an enterprise system? Great. It's about 50-50. So we are, I work at SAP, so let me share with you a little anecdote. This summer, I had a chance to talk to some design students to find out from them what they wanted to do after they graduated. Many of them wanted to go to startups, as Brian was alluding to earlier, and some of them wanted to go to recognizable consumer brands. And none of them, surprise, surprise, said enterprise software. And as I talked to them some more, it was clear that they really didn't have an idea of what that meant. And they didn't know that there were exciting opportunities for designers to make a difference in the lives of everyday working people. So in this talk, I want to convince you, or at least make the case, that such opportunities do exist. And in fact, actually, there has never been a better time to be an enterprise software designer. My name is Janaki Kumar. I work in a team called the Design and Co-Innovation Center. Some of my team members are here today. We are sort of an agency within SAP. So we get to work with customers directly on their strategic projects, user experience, design, co-innovation. Margaret was talking about boot camping their enterprise designers into a domain, specifically the ads domain. In our case, we go from domain to domain, from project to project. So it's a constant learning experience, but it also makes it really exciting. So 50% of you said you didn't know about enterprise software, so let me give an idea of what that is. So when you order something online, on your favorite shopping site, and it arrives at your door, everything that happens in between is enterprise software. An order is created, an invoice is cut, it could be an inventory is checked. If needed, raw material is purchased or production is initiated, and you have, and then finally shipping and logistics, and the product arrives at the consumer side. And all these activities have to be recorded accurately in the company's financial books, and the employees need to be paid. So the salaries and the benefits of the employees have to be taken care of. So in a nutshell, enterprise software runs businesses. A quick fun fact, 70% of the world's transactions runs through an SAP system. So the decision-making of the enterprise software is usually done by management and the IT staff. And in this game, features always win. Now, the vendors, like SAP, respond to it, and we add more and more features into the product. And our customers hire an army of consultants, and they add even more features. The problem with this is that it leads to complexity. And the enterprise worker, who is actually the end user of this product, rarely has a voice in this process. But this is changing. With the ubiquitous availability of smart devices, social media, consumer websites, people really expect the same ease of use in their enterprise software as their consumer software, and why not? We deserve it. IT and management are paying attention. Now, user experience is being seen as greater productivity, increased user adoption, reduced errors, reduced training, and companies want to use it to drive business innovation. And this is great news for enterprise software designers, because finally, there is a solid business case for good design. However, companies are unprepared to meet this shift from features to experience. For this to happen, you really need a confluence of business viability, technical feasibility, and human values. Companies know their business very well. They know they have a good handle on technology. However, they lack design. Let's just quantify what this means, where the gap is. So it's in the software industry, it's considered best practice to have one designer for every 10 developers. So if you follow the agile methodology, which many software vendors do, companies do, if you have a team of 10 developers, you need to have at least one designer. Many firms are doing much better, I'm happy to report. For a team of 10, there are 7 developers, 2 designers, and 1 PM. But let's say for the sake of argument, let's just take the conservative estimate of 1:10. Vendors, like SAP, the ratio goes up to 1:100. We have an employee base of 65,000 employees. Roughly half of them are developers. And with our designers, this brings us roughly to the 1:100 ratio. However, what we do is we shift our resources to the strategic and new projects. So for those areas, the ratio becomes closer to 1:10. But the shock is, when we look at our customers, the ratio is more like 1:1000. It is not unusual for our customers like Nestle or Walmart or John Deere to employ an IT staff of 1,000 internal and external consultants to modify the software to their unique business needs, to their industry, to their region. And in these large IT projects, they have 1 or maybe 5 designers. Many of these customers have a mix of cloud and on-premise deployments, and they work really hard to make sure that the systems work seamlessly together so that the information from one part of the business flows into the other. They have to meet their high customer expectations as well as enable their employees and their managers to make good decisions. However, this is changing as well. So customers are seeing the need for using the power of design and technology to transform their business. And many customers come to us these days to set up user centers of excellence within their IT organizations. Now, if this trend picks up, let's just estimate the demand for designers. Here is the good news. So just knowing the SAP landscape, since I have those numbers, SAP has a total customer base of 250,000. So 250,000 businesses, which has many more employees within those businesses. Like a Walmart is our customer. Now, the total number of customers of SAP is 250,000. Let's just take the top 50,000, the largest customers who have the resources. And let's assume that they decide to upgrade their ratio of designers to developers to, they just hire 100 designers. If they decide to do that, the total demand for enterprise designers will skyrocket to 5 million. Now, the actual numbers are not critical. The point is that when businesses decide to use the power of design, user experience, and technology to transform their business, to seriously do that, there's going to be a skyrocketing demand for enterprise designers who can solve these complex business problems. And this will also have a ripple effect across other businesses. When the large businesses are using it for their competitive advantage, other businesses are going to follow. But simply adding just the numbers is not enough. We need a culture change. Businesses need a culture change in order to enable this shift from features to experience. So let me just tell you a little bit of the SAP story. We have hired more designers. We have the fortunate position of our executive leadership giving us the resources to hire more designers. We've hired a cross-functional team of designers with a variety of skill sets, design thinking, user research, interaction design, visual design, prototyping. And Margaret was alluding to it earlier and saying that the teams are becoming more cross-functional user experience team, and this is certainly our experience as well. We encourage our teams to be more T-shaped, which we mean that our designers have a core expertise, but they also spread and grow in other areas as well. And we bring them all together so that the teams can work together and inspire each other. We have completely transformed our workspace. We have removed our cubicles and moved into a more open, collaborative, and a creative workspace. We call these app houses, and interestingly, many of our customers who have been coming to visit us and tour us are asking us to create such app houses in their environments as well. And how many of you are familiar with the design thinking methodology? Okay, a few of you. Okay, so we work very closely with Stanford D-School, and we use the design thinking methodology as our process. And what that allows us to do is a tool for innovation. We, when we are faced with the business problem, we try to reframe the problem, we diverge, we look at the problem space from different perspectives, and then we converge to find the solution. It's really a process of innovation. And so we believe that the key ingredients to a culture of innovation are, having the right talent with the right environment and adopting a design-friendly process. We've made a lot of organizational changes as well. We have Sam Yen, who is our Chief Design Officer. Everyone has heard of Chief Financial Officer and a Chief Technology Officer, but it's great to have Chief Design Officer, and it really shows the support the company has for the practice of design. We have a central user experience team that has the standards and guidelines and really sets the tone and on the strategy of SAP user experience. We have a consumer UX team that creates products that allows our customers to connect to their customers. And we have the Design and Co-Innovation Center, which is a team that I and a few others are part of. And we work directly with our customers to transform or to translate the user experience strategy of SAP into their landscape and bring it into their reality through these strategic engagements. And we also have several lines of businesses at SAP, and each lines of business has their own user experience team that works on product releases, and they dotted line back to Sam. And let's see what our investment has allowed us to create. This is the new face of SAP. We have simplified the large monolithic application into a collection of applications called Fiori. And let me run a short video that will explain what that is like. I lost my mouse. So to wrap up, the shift from features to experience is upon us. We observe it, we welcome it. We think that this will create a huge demand for enterprise designers who can take on this challenge. We also believe that simply adding designers is not enough, and we really have to encourage a culture shift in the organizations. And within SAP, we've created this cross-functional team of design talent, and we've created an open environment to facilitate this, as well as add a design-friendly process. So I encourage you to join me in this journey to transform the experience, the lives of the enterprise workers to be, just as easy to use as consumer products. Thank you. Any questions?
So I have a question. I'm from outside of this entire world where you guys live and work. From a semiconductor professional, I'm very analytical, but I'm kind of looking at, so I'm extraordinarily constantly frustrated by poor integration, poor user interface, things don't work, they're not intuitive at all, many times. So for somebody that's analytical like me, can you recommend kind of, if I was going to transition, make a career transition and move into either design space or kind of the testing space? You know, I'm not an artistic, like creative guy, I'm more kind of analytical and, wow, that's wrong, you document that and stuff. Can you make any suggestions about like what area of either the UX or the mobile app development kind of thing?
I think anyone who has the ability to have a systems thinking, we call it systems thinking, someone who can have a large problem space in mind. Because in enterprise, the challenge is you have multiple stakeholders taking a view at the same data. And in consumer products or a website, you have one user doing one task. It's pretty linear, and there's no downstream impact of that person's action on everything else that's going on. So in an enterprise, there is this dependent, like almost a matrix of stuff that's going on. So anyone who has the cognitive ability to really think in that systems way, I think that's a skill that you already have. Now, in addition to that, you need to be able to have a deep empathy for this end user to represent them and drive that design aspect. I mean, there are various ways to do that. There are, if you're interested in user experience, there are some course. I mean, I saw Tradecraft and General Academy and others that can give you that, skill set from a user experience perspective, and given your background, it could be a great synergy. Yeah.
Share a bit more now the user research part, like how teams come together
Yeah, so I can speak for our team, and I have some colleagues here who can add more information. So we get to work with a customer, and I'll give you an example. We looked at an ice cream truck delivery scenario. So there's a person who's stocking ice cream, and then and all this information is coming, into a central database, right? So and the managers want to look at it, the store owners, and so on and so forth. So what we do is sometimes do ride-alongs. We go with the drivers to see what do they do, what information do they collect, how do they do it. It's a lot of fun, actually. And then you bring it all in. And what the design thinking process is, the core difference between our traditional user experience and design thinking, in my opinion, is when we did user research, we would create a nice report, a 100-page report, and we hand it over to the product team and say, voila, we did research, we did all this ethnographic research, and here's what we learned. And then they kind of read half of it, they get half of it, they're not sure. In design thinking, we don't do that. We bring them all into a room. So maybe a room like this, right? And we would share our findings. We would do 360 research. We would bring their stakeholders' perspective into it as well. And then we would look at the problem space first broad. So that's called divergent thinking. And then we converge and say, what are the key problems that we can fix? Because we'll uncover 100 problems. We can't fix everything, right? So we need to focus in on what are the key things we want to fix. And once we identify the problems we want to fix, then we diverge again and find solutions. We iterate, we maybe do quick prototypes, sketches, get quick user feedback, diverge, and then we find the solution that works for us. So it's a slightly different type of user research, but I think it's more fun.
I'm kind of curious to learn more about the culture change aspect, because as you mentioned, I work in enterprise, and when you're in enterprise, like talking about user experience, usually the last thought, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, who are the people that normally come to you guys and say, we need this help? And is it normally coming to say, we want more features, and you guys come in and say, oh, by the way, you can consider this? Or are there actually people that are coming from IT or from management saying, hey, you know what, we actually want to transform how our operations work and implement user experience into it?
So remember I said there is a solid business case for good design? That is the key. So I think when I meet with senior executives or business folks, I don't try to sell design for design's sake. You don't want to preach to them, but rather try to kind of empathize with them and say, you know what, you're going to get more productivity from your call center worker. You're going to they're going to make less errors, right? If we actually go in and find out what they're doing, maybe yes, it takes that upfront time up front to learn about exactly what they do, but they're going to make less errors. You don't need to train them. You don't need to send them for 2 weeks for training. You can put them right away because we know exactly what they're going to do. So sell it to them from a different angle.
Are you talking to people like at the COO, CFO level, or are you talking to middle managers? Like who is it? Because normally the people who feel the pain are the people down there, right?
Yeah.
So who are you talking to?
So in our work, so SAP, mentioned there are many different groups. So in the Design and Co-Innovation Center, it's mostly a C-level request. So it will come from the top, and then we engage with the IT managers who are responsible for their enterprise systems. And then they have a team, it's usually a global organization. They have a team of people underneath them. So it goes like that. But what we do is, we found in our experience, the IT managers are starting to get it, right? Because they want to have that better relationship with lines of business. The resistance comes a little bit lower in the food chain. So when we do our design thinking, we make sure we engage with them as well. And so that's how it's been working. And really, it's each customer will have a certain hook that will resonate with them, and we just have to try different arguments and see what works. Great. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the reception.